Check one, two. Testing audio. Check one, two. Check one, two. Testing audio. Check one, two. Check one, two. Testing audio.
Good morning. Just doing a microphone check.
Thank you, Councillor Power. We can hear you.
Thank you.
Hi, Councillor Fertini. Can we test your mic, please?
Good morning. Can you hear me? We're on our way there.
Thank you. We can hear you.
Thank you.
All right, we are to call to order. As we begin today's meeting, we would like to acknowledge that we are gathering here today on the traditional territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit, Haudenosaunee, and Wendat nations who have called this land home since time immemorial. We recognize the Mississaugas of the Credit as the original rights holders and the signatories of Treaty 19, the Gentility Purchase of 1818, and that the agreements made therein are foundational to our nation-to-nation relationship. As a city, we are committed to our ongoing role in reconciliation through meaningful action rooted in truth, justice, and respect. We are grateful to the original caretakers of this land who have ensured we are able to work, play, and live in Brampton now and in the future. Please all rise for the singing of our national anthem, to be followed by a moment of personal reflection.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for
you may be seated. Welcome to our Regional Council meeting of June 25th, 2025. All members are present at today's meeting in person or remotely, except for, and the clerk will identify them.
Through you, Chair, Mayor Brown and Councillor Palashi have not joined yet.
Okay. I would like to add, at this time, I'm thrilled to welcome the city summer students to council chambers today. It's inspiring to see this room filled with so many bright and eager faces. We have over 150 outstanding young individuals who have chosen to spend their summer with the city of Brampton this year. We're excited to have you with us, and I hope this experience inspires you to stay engaged, stay curious, and continue making a difference. We'll move on to approval of the agenda. The clerk will discuss some of the added items.
Through you, Chair, the revised agenda includes the following items. 6.1, announcement, Brampton Rising Stars Season 2. The speaker's name was added and the video removed. 6.2, Citizen of the Year Senior 2024. The speaker's name has been added. 7.6, delegation from Tanya Hill Montour has been added. 8.1, government relations matters. The presentation has been added. 10.3.3, staff report, equity, diversity, and inclusion strategy 2025 to 2026, and equity office progress report. The report title was updated. 12.3, minutes of the Committee of Council, June 18th. The minutes were added. 18.6, bylaw 117, election signs bylaw was added. 18.9, bylaw 120, 2025. The correct version was published on the website on June 24th. And that's it for the revisions so far.
Item 16.2 is to be removed, which is bylaw number 121. 6.2. 16.2. Okay. So that's an additional item. Okay, got it. Councilor Vicente is also removing an item? Okay. You know what? I'll open it up to any amendments then. Councilor Vicente? Oh, Santos?
Thank you very much, Chair.
No, it's Councilor Santos.
Councillor Santos.
Actually, they're all different right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's okay. It's confusing.
Okay.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. So I just wanted to add the in-camera item related to the briefing note from staff in follow-up to the Brampton Arts Organization delegation from last week. Those delegations were referred to council last week for in-camera discussion, and just wanted to add that briefing note in camera as well as part of the discussion. It has to do with negotiations.
So that'll be 19.11. Just confirming with staff.
Yeah.
19.8. So you
Yeah.
want to add another briefing note?
Yeah.
Okay. 19.11.
Sure.
Okay. Added. Okay, Councilor Tour.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. I have two additions. One is, I've sent both the additions to Madam Clerk. One is both are open session items. One is to address a certain organization. It's an advocacy letter that goes out to the Government of Canada. That's right. It was previously asked, it would be a closed session, but it's an open session item. Yes, it is an open session item.
16.3.
Perfect. And the second would be another open session item regarding council remuneration.
So would that be 16.4? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And then we have Councilor Vicente.
Thank you very much, Chair. I believe you spoke to it, but just wanted to make sure through you and to the clerk with regards to bylaw 121. It's in the agenda multiple times. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
Through you, Chair, yes, Councillor, that's correct. So we can remove that one, and the bylaw just prior to that addresses the matter properly.
Okay, and 16.2. Yeah, motion regarding a dedicated tree. Okay, so we have a motion moved by Councillor Santos and seconded by Councillor Vicente to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor? Oh, sorry, I didn't see. Councillor Power?
I'd like to add a discussion item on the update of Howden bike lanes.
Okay. Howden bike lanes. Yeah,
It's committee. That's not a council matter, it's committee.
he can add it at.
No, we have one in July.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion. Anybody else online? Is there anybody online? Okay. So we have a motion moved by Councillor Santos and seconded by Councillor Vicente to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor? Motion carries. Declarations of interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. We are now at item 3, declarations of interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. Does any member have a declaration of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act for any matter to be considered in today's agenda? Seeing and hearing none, we'll move on. We have the following council minutes before us today. Minutes City Council regular meeting, June 11th, 2025. Do any members have any questions or comments regarding the minutes? I don't see any, so I have a motion moved by Councillor Power and seconded by Councillor Maderos to approve the minutes as published and circulated. All in favor? Motion carries. And moving on to consent motion. Council, as part of our consent motion process, I will read each agenda item that is subject to the consent motion, and any member may verbally identify the item to be held for debate during the meeting. Any item not held for debate will be considered as part of the consent motion and voted on for approval. I'll start reading the relevant agenda items, and members can identify any items to be held for debate. 8.1, Government Relations Matters. Consent. 10.3.1, Staff Report regarding CAA Amenity Naming Rights Agreement Tire World. Consent. 10.3.2 will be held for Delegation 7.1. 10.3.3 will be held for Presentation 7.4. 10.6.1, Staff Report regarding 2025 New School Infrastructure Improvements, Ward 6. Consent. 10.6.2, Staff Report regarding request to begin procurement for physical security services at various city locations for a 3-year period. Consent. 12.1, Minutes Planning and Development Committee, June 6, 2025. Consent. 12.2, Minutes Audit Committee, June 10th, 2025. Consent. 12.3, Minutes Committee of Council, June 18th, will be held for Delegation 7.2. 14.1, Correspondence from Toronto and Region Conservation Authority, Conservation Authorities Act Regulated Area Mapping. Consent. 16.1, Referred Matters List. Consent. 16.2, 3, 4, 5 were added items. 19.1, Closed Session Minutes, City Council, June 11th, 2025. Consent. 19.2, Closed Session Minutes, Committee of Council, June 18th, 2025. Consent. 19.3, Closed Report, Budget Amendment and Request to Begin Procurement. Can we please have our phones on silence? Thank you. 19.3, Closed Report, Budget Amendment and Request to Begin Procurement for Construction Services to Accommodate Office Space Reorganization, Ward 3. Consent. 19.4, Closed Report, Hazel McCallion Line, Project Update, Operations and Maintenance Agreement. Consent. 19.5, Closed Report, Disposal of City-Owned Surplus Land at Auction Lane, Ward 8. Consent. 19.6, Closed Report, OLT Appeal, OLT 25-0000205-2036 Bavair Drive West. That needs direction, so we'll hold. Okay, 19.7, Counselor Keenan. 19.8 will also be held for discussion. 19.9, closed report, budget amendment, development approvals, technology solution. Consent. 19.10, closed report, below market rent tendency for not-for-profit organizations. What, held? Counselor Tour. 19.9, you want held?
No.
Okay, so it's consent. 19.11, you added.
Yes.
Right, so we're good. Okay, the clerk will summarize those items to be included on the consent motion for approval.
Through you, Chair, the following items are included on the consent motion. 8.1, Government Relations. 10.3.1, Staff Report, CAA Center Amenity Naming Rights Agreement. 10.6.1, Staff Report, 2025 New School Infrastructure Improvements. 10.6.2, Staff Report, Request to begin procurement for physical security services. 12.1 minutes, Planning and Development Committee, June 9th. 12.2 minutes, Audit Committee, June 10th. 14.1, correspondence from Toronto and Region Conservation Authority. 16.1, referred matters list. 19.1, closed session minutes, City Council, June 11th. 19.2, closed session minutes, Committee of Council, June 18th. 19.3, closed report, budget amendment and request to begin procurement for construction services. 19.4, closed report, Hazel McCallion Line project update. 19.5, closed report, disposal of city-owned surplus land at Auction Lane. And 19.9, closed report, budget amendment, development approvals, and technology solutions.
Thank you. I have a motion moved by Councillor Keenan and seconded by Councillor Brar to approve the consent motion. All in favor? Motion carries. We also have two announcements today. The first is sponsored by Councillor Brar. Councillor Brar, would you like to speak to it?
Thank you.
Point of order, sorry. If staff could also help Councillor Pleshy, he's experiencing some technical difficulties. Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, just want to introduce Reverend Blessing, and I'll let her make the announcement. But last year, she had an amazing talent show where she made sure that youth were on the table, had the opportunity to perform and showcase their talents, especially within the Black community, and just want to give her an opportunity to make that announcement.
Thank you, Councillor Bra, and everyone here. Thank you. It's an honor to be here today. Actually, I want to start by appreciating the council, the mayor, and all our committee members for supporting Brampton Rising Star Season 1. It was an amazing event that sparked the whole of Ontario and Canada as a whole because everybody knew about it. So I'm proud that the city of Brampton was able to be a hub for talent show for the youth. So today we have come with my team to announce the Season 2. Praise God. Season 2 is going to be an amazing one. Brampton Rising Star Talent Hunt Show Season 2 is not just for Brampton alone, but we are staging it for the whole of the cities in GTA and beyond, celebrating youth talent, culture, and creativity. This year, we are expanding our audition, offering mentorship, and creating stronger community impacts. I see the youth already are very excited because we have started the pre-audition already. It was so awesome. We can't wait to see how this year is going to become. And then I wanted to use this opportunity to say that the Brampton Rising Star is more than just a show. It is a city GTA worldwide celebration. And I want to use this opportunity to invite the mayor, all the councillors, and the council member, and including all our committees and the youth to be part of this. And I plead, and I want to strongly say that we would like the council to give us a strong endorsement and also encourage attendance in full and to encourage other people that are coming. Mayors and MPs came from different cities to meet us and see that we are all part of this show, and also to promote the Brampton Rising Star in the city platform.
All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna send an invite out, and we're gonna take a picture with you. If you just give us a minute, we have one more delegation that will take a picture and push it out on social media, okay?
Okay, thank you,
Okay,
we are very
thank you.
pleased.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
okay? And next is Councillor Tour, who is gonna make an announcement for Citizen of the Year, somebody who can attend.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. I'm very pleased to share that we have in the audience with us today Rajni Sharma, who was 2024 Citizen of the Year in the seniors category. Mrs. Sharma couldn't make it to the official award ceremony due to some personal reasons, but if I can share a few words about her, she's a force to reckon with. In a space that is mostly dominated by male seniors, she stands out. She's been a pioneer when it comes to all the different women's seniors clubs that are across the city, but we're very proud to have her in Wards 9 and 10. There's a lot of personal stories I think a lot of members of council can share about Mrs. Sharma, including Mayor Brown. But if I could say something, there's times where I've called her and she's answered her phone and we've had a chat and she's like, okay, I gotta go, the doctor's here, I'm at the hospital. I said, you're at the hospital, why are you answering the call? And the next week she's out at a community event, she's dancing amongst the community, organizing festivals in our parks, at our recreation centers, at our communities. She has done incredible work for decades in our city to unite people, to bring people together, people from all different communities, make them feel welcome. Especially when anybody is a new migrant to our city and is struggling to find their sense of community. I know they usually end up with Mrs. Sharma, and she's always been a helping hand to anybody in any capacity. She's a strong advocate for seniors in our city, for senior services, and thanks to her advocacy, there has been a lot of good movement on senior services that the city can provide, whether that is from free transit service to free recreation service for seniors that are over the age of 65 years. And there's no stopping this woman. With this award, she's not going to take this home and stop what she's doing. I'm sure she's going to be advocating for a lot more changes in our city. But thank you, Mrs. Sharma, for all the incredible work you do, for treating us as council members like your children and giving us advice whenever you can. But more importantly, for bringing the community in Brampton together. And engaging them in that civic pride. And Mrs. Sharma, if you want to share a few words, and after that, perhaps if members of council would join us and we can officially present this much-deserved award to Mrs. Sharma.
Before Ms. Sharma starts, the chair of the committee would also just like to say something.
Can I share now?
My mic's not on. Oh. Thank you so much for coming in. So as the chair of the committee, and I sit on it with Councillor Santos and Mayor Brown, we had a fantastic night, and I'm so happy that you came here because for everything you do in our community, you deserve to be publicly recognized. We did see your video. You got a massive round of applause, even though you weren't in attendance. And it was just an amazing things you do in the community, and I just want to personally say thank you so much for that. And I'm so happy you're here today to get that recognition that you wholeheartedly deserve. So thank you, and thank you for the time, Mr. Chair. You missed a good show.
And you have 2 minutes, if you can. Thank you.
I really appreciate and thank you for all Brampton City's councillors, regional councillors, and especially our mayor, because he make it. Now the changes came from 35 years. I am seeing that all the parks for the seniors, for the youth, so many works are done here. And also kids playing with the seniors very safely, but they are taking care for that, all of the members, and whenever we demand, they fulfill it. So thanks for that. Now we have on 20th July, the park give me on my name by the city or this especially I take the name Harkirat and Gurpratap. They did very good for us, but all the area, I really, our small ਬੇਟੀਆਂ ਕਹੂੰਗੀ ਮੈਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਡਾਟਰਸ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਔਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਡੇ ਇੰਸਪੀਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੋਂ ਆਪ ਅੱਗੇ ਵਧਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਔਰ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਛੋਟੀ ਉਮਰ ਤੋਂ ਹੈ I am now 72 years old, so they come forward because always I listen from Patrick that his grandparents, auntie, they are 124 years old, so we also make healthy Brampton, Flower City Brampton, clean and healthy, all blessed by the God. So stay blessed. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Councillor Chor, yep.
Just to quickly add to what she just said there in Punjabi, I think it's very important for everybody to hear. She was pointing towards Councillor Barad, but amongst all, she said, all the young women that are in the room here, that she's with you and she wants young women to follow the same path, where to be active voices in the community, to champion the way she has done it, and she would be happy to help out everybody that does that. So thank you to all the women.
Thank you. And before we go take a picture, we'll come take a picture. I wanted to just make one half announcement. I have my family in the crowd. If they could raise their hands. So that's my father, my mother, and my uncles, who have a phenomenal story from the valleys of Huddersfield and Derby, England, and migrated to Cambridge and now in Brampton. And I have my aunt here as well. And it's an amazing story, but a time for another day. But I just wanted to acknowledge my family, who, if we could have our third picture with them, that would be very nice as well. Thank you. Okay, we're ready for our delegations. Just a reminder, the lights will also turn, and keep an eye on the clock. You have 5 minutes per delegation. So just keep, it's at 5 minutes, so just a reminder, okay? The first one is 7.1, delegation from Jacqueline Novak-Nair, Managing Director, and Derek Mager, Senior Consultant Advisor, and Kate Flett, Consultant Sports Tourism Canada, regarding our Brampton Sport Tourism Strategy. I think Acting Commissioner Tamming has something to say. Yep.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. And just through the chair, just a brief introduction.
Sure.
This is a body of work that the tourism team has worked with Sport Tourism Canada and TOA Consulting on over the past year, getting feedback from the community, from council members and stakeholders. And so they're going to be presenting the final product to council for your review and approval today. And I'll invite them up now for the delegation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm joining you virtually through Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone, honorable councillors, for welcoming me today to...
Sorry, could we start the clock, please? Yeah, so we have... please don't mind, but I'll be interrupting you when it's 30 seconds before, just so you have a heads up, okay? Go ahead.
Certainly, thank you. My name is Jacqueline Novak-Nair. Pronouns are she, her. I'm the Managing Director of TOA Consulting and Lead Consultant for Sport Tourism Canada, the organization contracted to carry out this body of work on behalf of the City of Brampton. Next slide. For the last 8 months, I and my team, under the guidance of City of Brampton Gauge Board, have had the honor of working with the city and multiple stakeholders within the community. We embarked on the development of a sport tourism strategy that would provide insight into the current environment, an assessment of Brampton's capabilities as a sport host community, and a review of potential opportunities for sport hosting. Our approach is a collaborative and facilitated approach, ensuring we captured the voices of local community in the strategy. The team has prepared a sport tourism strategy for your consideration in the hopes of contributing to a vibrant, healthy, and economically prosperous Brampton. Next slide. Community consultation was a key part of this process. Through online research, surveys, workshops, interviews, meetings, and focus groups, inclusive of some of you in the room, and of local sport organizations, provincial and national sport organizations, professional sport franchises, city staff and council, local accommodations and venues, we were able to capture the feedback representing more than 45,000 of your constituents. We heard from 44 sport organizations across 35 sports. Next slide, please. Following a comprehensive review of your sport venues, public and private, local accommodations and hotel product, the sport environment in Brampton and the Greater Toronto Area, provincially and nationally, as well as current trends in the industry, the team landed on the following vision for sport tourism in Brampton, as well as 5 key recommendations and more than 60 tactics. The vision that we have proposed is to elevate Brampton as a provincial leader and rising national player in Canada in the sport hosting space by building upon its existing assets, diversity, location, venue footprint, and youth demographics, while addressing infrastructure needs and local sport hosting capabilities and capacity. The 5 recommendations include solidifying this vision that we've proposed, including more than 15 sports as the focus area out of a possible 104, becoming Canada's premier hub for culturally significant sporting events, which is really unique to Brampton in comparison to other communities across Canada. Anchoring and strengthening Brampton's existing sport franchises, including the Honey Badgers and the Steelheads, establishing Brampton as a provincial and national training hub and event hub for a number of sports, and operationalizing Brampton's vision for sport tourism through the lens of the participant. I imagine there may be questions individually after you've all taken in the report, but happy to continue. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Jacqueline. You have just about a minute left. Minute 50. Yeah.
Thank you. So why should Brampton not only care about sport tourism, but focus on making it a priority? It is one of the few sectors and initiatives that this city could take on that successfully weaves together sport, recreation, health and wellness, education, culture, and tourism. It is the largest growing segment in the world and is a rapidly growing sector in Canada. The 2021 numbers showing the sport tourism sector at 7.4 billion GDP. It's arguably over 10 billion 4 years later. It is a resilient sector that has a high return on investment and a higher average spend per day in tourism than even local conferences and events. What you can anticipate by this investment includes putting Brampton on the map in terms of sport event hosting, economic impact, job creation, strategic infrastructure investment from sport and private investors, community and youth engagement, as well as an improved citizen quality of life overall.
And thank you, Jacqueline. Your time is up, but there are questions on the board from members of council. And just a big thank you to yourself as well as Gage Board, who did incredible work on this strategy. We have Councillor Tour, followed by Councillor Medeiros. Councillor Tour.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Jacqueline, for that excellent presentation and for compiling this excellent report. Thank you to Gage, Alex, and his team as well for putting this report together. It was such a fun report that I actually read every single page of this because it is so well done, and I can attest to the level of engagement that was done with all the sports organizations and different sports. This truly captures the entirety of sports in Brampton here in this report. So thank you for all the work that you've done here, and there's recommendations in here as well that I think we would be supporting. Just a quick question was, in one place in the report, I was trying to find in the paper copy right now, there was, in the acknowledgements, it was a thank you to the City of Brampton, of course, but there was a thank you to the Government of Alberta. Just wondering, was there a role, how were they able to help us out in the formation of this report? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, we had, it was interesting, we've been studying across the country different venue comparisons and the investment in public infrastructure. And it's actually been pretty tricky with the separation of the ministry in Ontario to gather some information about the cross-provincial comparison about the investment in sport and recreation infrastructure. And it was actually that body, through our existing relationships, that was able to provide us with some data actually for Ontario. So that was why there was that consideration, but we're also happy to take that out if that raises public confusion. So.
No, that was just a question. I think it's just funny that we are getting information from Alberta that we couldn't find here in Ontario. But thank you for that. That speaks to the thoroughness of the work that you've done on this excellent report.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tour. Next is Councillor Medeiros.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the presentation, and thank you for the report. And I echo the words of Councillor Tour. Thank you to Gage and Alex. I know they've done a lot of groundwork on dealing with different community groups in the sports sector. One thing's interesting about this report, when I first got on council in 2015, and being actively engaged probably my first term, to what I'm seeing in this report, still there seems to be a continuation which validate statements that were made years ago. And my concern is from the fact that we've recognized this over the last 10 years per se, but it seems we're still, for lack of a better term, we're still facing the same challenges, and it doesn't feel we've addressed some of these challenges that some of the sports groups have raised from years ago. And I know the complexity of the sports industry, because I keep hearing from no matter what sport, no matter where, whenever I meet people outside of Brampton, talk about how our recreational facilities and sports fields are second to none. Top infrastructure. However, I think now the complexity, and maybe I want you to expand on this, a lot of privatization of groups, like when you talk about from some of the sports I know more, they're soccer and so on, there's now not only sort of Brampton Youth Soccer, there's like private organizations, private clubs. And another thing, if you can comment on the impact too, because I saw one of the gaps was lack of access to some of our facilities. Do we have a number of how many outside groups are using our facilities? Like, I know, for example, from be it from golf, tennis, or playing soccer, or for anything that I've been involved in, there's a lot of outside Brampton groups that have access to our facilities. And do we have a control on or managing how we try to give priority to Brampton sports organizations and youth groups? So that would be another, maybe if you can comment on that as well.
Certainly. Through you, Mr. Chair, a couple of points with that. I'll address the last one firstly. So the outside groups, it's difficult to identify exactly how many participants and citizens from outside of Brampton, specifically in the recreation space, are benefiting from your facilities. I think that would be a question for follow-up and exploration with Parks and Recreation. There is, however, within the sport community, there's something to celebrate if you are attracting athletes from just outside the borders of Brampton, from across the GTA, from Caledon, from neighboring communities, is really that highlights Brampton's sort of expertise and prowess in sport as well. So I do think there's always a balance for you to consider in terms of local citizen engagement and recreation, but also what the dynamics and the characteristics of sport and competitive sport are. It's really natural as you continue to advance as a sport host community that you will have that external draw. What you are willing to tolerate as a city, for lack of a better word, is a part of that. And forgive me, your first question, I have
yeah, it's just regarding now, because I know in a lot of sports, we're not dealing just with youth clubs anymore. We're dealing with sort of private run sort of, I know in the sphere of soccer or in the sphere of their private private groups. And I don't know to the degree they have an impact on sort of the access to our sports facilities, what percentage that sort of makes up. And if that's, for example, impacting, because I saw one of the gaps you talked about, how hosting tournaments, there seems to be unclear in terms of our process from some of the groups and so on. And I'm just trying to understand what is unclear. Is it sort of the access to the fields? Is it, it's a different sphere now, it's a different circle in terms of, it's not just sort of public organizations, there's also private sports teams, for lack of a better term. And I'm not sure if that's impacting or contributing to sort of the unwillingness to sort of host tournaments or stuff like that.
Through you, Mr. Chair, thank you for that question. So I believe there's a flip side to all of those arguments. So what we can see as a general tendency across the country and in Ontario with private organizations and private academies are twofold, is that they tend to be those that actually contribute private investment to the development of either future facilities, or they co-invest with the city through a public-private partnership to improve the amenities of existing public facilities. So I wouldn't underestimate the positive impact that those organizations have. I think there's always a lingering question about the financial accessibility to the broader athlete base for private academies and private clubs. But what I would say is that it does help create a really vibrant sport community, and they are a necessary part of the entire sport ecosystem to help advance. Your second question about the confusion with and that gap that was identified is around the access points. So I would not say that these groups are taking away from existing access. I think it is a revenue source for the city of Brampton that is required for your revenue model within your recreation facilities, if they are indeed using public facilities. But the confusion is actually around the access points for initiating events and initiating sport hosting overall. So, for example, you as counselors could have an opportunity that gets presented, and it's always the question of how is that coordinated. Secondly, Parks and Recreation could get a booking within one of the facilities, and none of those may end up necessarily within the tourism office. So I think the different grant opportunities and processes that are trying to be put in place and recommended by this strategy will help close that gap.
And through you, Mr. Chair, thank you for the response. Just to elaborate, it's the point that you touched upon. So just for an example, an organization, ball hockey group, they want to host a tournament here in Brampton, and they approach the city. So the gaps, so if they approach Parks and Rec and do bookings on their own, I think what you're suggesting is that there should be some form of coordination, or lack of a better term, one window access, where then the sports tourism folks would be brought in to how do we help this organization promote this tournament, host this tournament, because I think one of the big sort of gaps, or one of the challenges I think for a lot of sports organizations, I know more intimately again from soccer, is that the amount of hours and the fear of not breaking even sometimes hampers their ability to want to host tournaments. Even though, for example, a lot of our sports teams across the board are successful, they're provincially recognized, we're known as a hotbed for sports, but we're not hosting as many tournaments because, a lot of these organizations don't know or don't understand the support that we can provide, and maybe internally too, as we organize to sort of provide that more support, eventually we'll be able, as we can promote that with the different sports organizations, we could maybe be more successful in attracting bigger tournaments and more signature events when it comes to the sports fair. Is that sort of kind of what, as part of one of the recommendations I saw there, and is that something that you think is really important to help these organizations?
Through you, Mr. Chair, thank you for the question. I do believe so in your examples of ball hockey or soccer. I come from the softball world, and from the age of about 11, I participated in a softball tournament that has been hosted annually by the Brampton Blazers. So it's an example of many sport organizations within Brampton are self-sufficient, but they are missing out on granting opportunities, opportunities to have coordination with the hoteliers, and also any other benefits and services that the tourism office can provide to be able to enhance the experience so that it becomes sort of a stay and play, where sport event participants come and explore all that Brampton has to offer. So there is good opportunity there, the greater level of coordination that there is within the city.
Great. Thank you again for all your work, and thank you again to staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And if we're comfortable to the speakers especially, I'm going to bring the report too and pass it now. Yep. Okay. So I have a motion. Yep.
Just a note, Chair, that the staff report title is actually Brampton Sport Tourism Strategy.
Okay.
Just to confirm that for our public record.
Thank you. So I have a motion to receive the delegation and approve the report as amended from Councillor Madero, so seconded by Councillor Santos. All in favor? Motion carries. Moving on, we have Azad Goet. Please come forward to the podium. You have 5 minutes for your delegation, and we will begin once you're at the podium. So yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so
Are you
much
waiting for
for-
slides? Or
Yeah.
You're looking up? Okay. You're waiting
Azad.
for slides?
Yeah, the first one is okay.
Okay, okay. And you have 5 minutes, starting now. Go.
Okay, thank you so much. First of all, I want to invite the whole council for our public town hall meeting to be held at the City Hall in the ground on 12th of July at 2:30. Because I had a public town hall on 6th of June at Michael Murphy Park. Another we had at the City Hall at 21st of June. All council members were invited, but no one even replied they're coming, and no one even showed up. So this is my personal invitation to the whole council to please come there along with the mayor, because we have so many concerns, so we want your input because we want the solutions. Secondly, on 21st June at City Hall on the weekend or during the day, the parking is free. But on that day, it was intentionally blocked so that resident cannot park inside underground. Many people, many residents who participated in the town hall, they were upset because the gate was closed. So it's my request on 12th of July, please make the parking available for the people. So secondly, I'm talking about the ticket issued in the school zone. So if you just make it a little bigger, this slide, then the middle part. Yeah, so it says, it clearly says the Highway Traffic Acts, where the council of a municipality designed the portion of the highway under section this, it has the dimensions, yes, they should follow, and all the sign in the school zone, must be electrically emanated from within the sign. None of the signs in the school zone are compliant. None of the signs are compliant. And when we are writing to the city or the enforcement or talking to the provincial bylaw officers or city bylaw officer, everybody is contradicting. So all the signs, because these signs are in city of Brampton, so I request, please have a thorough investigation, thorough consultation with your local bylaw office and the provincial bylaw office, and all the signs in the school zone must be corrected, and all the tickets issued because of the non-compliant sign must be withdrawn, and any penalty charged to the resident, that must be refunded. So because we believe in compliance, so I want my city have the compliant sign. It's a safety issue, yes. We believe the safety in the school zone, but the school zone is when the school is in progress. School is from 9 to 5 or 9 to 6. There is a sign, yeah, there are reduced speed sign, yes, we welcome that. But when the school is not in progress, like March break, winter break, 2.5 month summer vacation, so there is no school zone there. It's a school there, but no school zone because school is not progress. So your speed, your camera speed must be adjusted accordingly so that the residents are not penalized to get a ticket even at the midnight. Is there a school zone in the midnight at 12 o'clock? No. If the speed zone is 40 and you are driving at 41, people are getting tickets. So people are upset because the intent is not right. Yes, safety, in the name of the safety, people are being harassed, people are being charged for non-compliant signs because there is people cannot see the sign in the midnight. There is a dark sometime. You know. Okay, thank you so much. And we should review our enforcement program for the cameras because the city of Vaughan has halted the program until September, and they are reviewing how we can make it better so that we have the good advocacy so that people can know. So there is no warning so that we are just getting the ticket. So let's have advocacy, let's educate the people, and let's spread the word, and same time with a good intent not to penalize but make the city better. So again, thank you so much, and I'm inviting the whole council for 12th July at Brampton City Hall and at 2:30, please show up. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Azad. We have Councillor Tour, followed by Councillor Keenan, and then Councillor Fertini.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just sticking to questions only. I'm not going to get into the debate of the value of the ASE cameras. I don't think nobody at this table is willing to risk the life of any single child, doesn't matter school hours or not school hours. But just to this delegation alone, for the questions that are being raised about whether there is compliance or there's no compliance right now on behalf of the city with the Highway Traffic Act or any of the regulations that are set out, if you can strictly just answer to that. I know you've emailed us these questions. You've got the responses from our commissioner, our entire team. You have the answers for this already. But for public record, because I don't want this confusion to be out there in the public, if maybe the director perhaps, if somebody could just reiterate and talk about, is the city in compliance with the Highway Traffic Act or any regulations that are there around signs or speed cameras?
Mr. Azad, just if you could let him know.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Councillor Tour. Absolutely, we also believe in compliance with all of our automated speed enforcement locations, and yes, all of our sites are currently compliant, and we actually review the signage requirements and the signage in place on a regular basis to make sure that they comply with the regulations for automated speed enforcement.
Okay, thank you for answering that question. I'm not going to ask any further questions about how good this program's doing. All the numbers that we're seeing from it, they'll come at an appropriate time whenever we report back on these. And at that time, maybe we can get into discussions around that. But thank you for clarifying that the city of Brampton is in total compliance when it comes to this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fertini.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor. So we get complaints of speeders every day, and it's a safety. You know, school's closed. I never got a ticket. My last ticket, I was 17 years old, so you're looking at 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Drive slow. They say signage are not there. They see 40, 50, 60, 80. There's signage right there. We have seniors walking. We got mothers with strollers. The kids are closed schools, are playing on the streets. So I feel if you do the speed limit, it's a safety. So we get calls because of the cameras. We're getting calls of speeders. We're getting calls of speed bumps. How can we make the city safe? And I think this is the best way. I believe stick with the kilometers. And it does not give you a ticket at 2 kilometers or 3 kilometers. You have to pass 10 kilometers. So if it's 40, you have to pass the 50 kilometers. The other thing is if you go up north, like Simcoe, Georgina, Keswick, they're all 30 up there because there's no sidewalks. So, you know, we get tickets. These are laws. So I feel I'm not going to debate on it. I'm going to stand by it. If I get a ticket, well, it happens. I got to pay for it. That's how I feel. And one of my residents got 3 tickets, and he's the one complaining there were so many speeders on the street. And I said, well, go pay for them. So I said, what do you want me to do? So there's also another learning lesson. Do not lend your car no more, because if I lent my truck to someone, or my car, I get the ticket. So I know we cannot answer, but I'm going to stick by, we all need safety on the road. Now, if it's legal or not legal, I'm not a lawyer. Last night I had my town hall, there was a lot of people there. The majority of people were all happy, they clapped about it. So,
Thank you. We are not denying the safety. Safety is must.
Okay.
School should be safer. But if the school is in progress, yes, that should work. But after the school time, what's midnight
So
in the
I think
safety?
there's just a difference
If it can be restored to the original.
I think there's just a difference of opinion. It's okay. You have your right to put your opinion. He's putting his opinion. Next is Councillor Santos.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. Just a question for clarification from Michael Krault, is again regarding some of the comments that have been brought forward by the delegate. So, Michael, I'm just going to clarify for the public who are in the gallery, those who are online as well, and those who have ongoing questions about what is and what is not a community safety zone versus a school zone. So I believe the delegate was talking about a school zone. And so to Michael, can you clarify the difference between a community safety zone and a school zone as it applies to the speed cameras?
Yeah, sure, Councillor Santos, through the chair. The legislation allows us to operate automated speed enforcement in school zones and community safety zones. In the city of Brampton, we operate our automated speed enforcement cameras in community safety zones, which has specific signage requirements. The signage requirements that the delegate is outlining here are for school zones, which we do not enforce. So community safety zones include many different things, including we have criteria that we build into our community safety zones around things like schools, parks, seniors' residences, et cetera. So they may or may not include schools, but sometimes they do. So that's the distinction.
Thank you, Michael. So there is a very distinct difference between a school zone and a community safety zone. They are not one and the same. And in the city of Brampton, we have speed cameras in community safety zones. So I just want to make that clear because there might be some confusion as to, okay, this is a school zone, there's flashing lights, and I still got a ticket. Well, guess what? It's also a community safety zone as well. So just to clarify, there is a big difference between the two, and the city is compliant with the Highway Traffic Act in terms of the notices that we have given to the different areas with speed cameras, as well as the signage. Keep in mind that I believe that we're also going to be looking at signage and other things to improve the program. But at the same time, to my colleague's point, speeding is speeding. In the area that I represent, speeding is a top safety concern. So Michael, my next question to you. In a community safety zone, if somebody is hit by a car going 60 kilometers an hour, how likely are they to survive?
Yeah, there is data around the significance and the role of speed in the chance of someone surviving these types of collisions. We know this. And there is some really great research out there by the World Health Organization. The City of Toronto has done a really significant study in partnership with Toronto Metropolitan University and Sick Kids Hospital. And the percentage of someone who's struck at 60, it is, I believe, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I believe they're in the single digits, versus someone who's struck at 40. There is a very, very substantial difference, and this is why these programs are so important in terms of maintaining public safety.
Thank you, Michael. And so I do strongly believe in the fact that we have cameras in place to deal with speeding. Speeding is speeding. And if you're in a car going 60 kilometers an hour, you may not feel like you're speeding, but you're speeding. And if you hit somebody, a child, you're likely going to kill them. And this is why we have these cameras in place, is very intentionally to prioritize safety and to change behavior. I was on a call with a resident yesterday who said, "Counselor, I got a ticket going 51 kilometers an hour over the speed limit. I got a ticket for driving 51 kilometers an hour in a community safety zone. 2 days later, I got another ticket. 2 days later, another ticket. Why am I getting all these tickets? I didn't even know I was speeding until I got the thing in the mail." And I said to the resident, I need folks to really think about this and think about the kids in the neighborhood. Okay, so let's say you get one speeding ticket for that 1 week, but on the second, third, fourth day, you're still speeding. You're still speeding. Now, you live in the neighborhood where that same car is speeding in the neighborhood. The people in that neighborhood see the car speeding one day. They see the same car speeding the next day. They see the same car speeding the next day after that. How is that fair to the people in that neighborhood? Right? So what we're trying to do, folks, is to change behavior and prioritize safety. And the people who have been complaining about speeding are now realizing that they too are speeding. And so we need to slow people down. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Councillor Keenan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you, and thank you, Councillor Santos. My point was the cameras are there to change behavior. And I'll come back to school hours, summer hours, on and off. The school is there for a reason. It's because there's a lot of children in the area. You know, when you think about them being out for the summer, they're more at risk than when they're in their school, only out for recess or only coming and going from school. So there's a higher risk of hitting a child around a school or a community safety zone, or a park, when they're out on summer break. That's when you should be paying more attention and not less attention. You know, reading through some of the information that I've seen come through, to me, is just misinformation. I give it to staff, and staff tell me and that this is completely incorrect. And we talk about flashing lights. And from my understanding, and maybe staff can correct me, if a school zone changes its speed throughout the day, where when school is it's on a main road, like Chinguacousy, for instance. There's a school at Chinguacousy north of Bovaird. When school is in, it's flashing because that's the time the school is in, so the speed limit changes during those times. Every other school zone is 40 all day, 24/7, 365. So I'm very passionate about this. I campaigned on the fact to get more road safety in the city of Brampton. I stand by this program. And if you got, and I'll ask you a question, if you received 10 tickets, would you stop speeding in that area?
I never got any ticket in my life for the speeding. I'm a law-abiding citizen. Safety is important, but this is not the question. Why you are saying that school is not included in the safety zone? It's different. No, school zone is itself a safety zone too. It's a school zone. Let's not overlap. No, schools are not in the safety zone. Schools are in the safety zone. But why? The Highway Traffic Act says the sign in the school where the school is, that should be electrically illuminated. So it means that's the wording only. It's not applicable in the city. Why this law is here? And provincial law is overriding the municipal laws.
So I'll come back to my question.
You cannot say the ASC is not applicable.
I'm going to ask the question just one more time. Not saying you have any tickets. If you received 10 tickets from a speed camera, would you slow down? Just would you? I'm not saying you did.
Why not? People should follow the speed.
They should follow speed.
They should show.
No more questions,
Mr.
Chair.
So that we have not said. That's what I'm saying. If the regular speed is, school zone time is 40.
We got to move on. Councilor Vicente.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Azad, for coming here today to delegate. We know that you care, but I just want to ask you a question. You've raised your question, and you've had staff provide a response with respect to the legislation. You have an email response from staff describing the differences between the two types of zones and why they are regulated differently and why the rules are different. You've had members of council explain to you our priorities, and we've also had members of council explain to you the differences in the legislation in response to your question by email and also today your delegation. Are you satisfied with the information you've received?
No, I'm not satisfied with that email reply because you cannot isolate the school zone from the community safety zone because school zone itself is a community safety zone.
So at the risk of, if I may, Mr. Chair.
That sign must be electric.
Let him speak.
If I may, Mr. Chair, at the risk of angering my council colleagues, may I ask staff to come up one more time and explain the difference between a school zone and a community safety zone, so you could hear it one more time, please.
I just want to know.
Please, the
it's
staff.
Always the same case, the schools are not included or sometimes not included.
Please allow the staff to explain, if you could just explain one more time in response to the question that is being raised in the community through Mr. Azad, why is there a difference in terms of signage, which in one instance must be backlit and illuminated, and in the other instance, which is what we're using here in the city of Brampton, does not?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor, and through the chair. So, yes, just to reiterate.
Could you just speak a little bit more loudly?
Yes. Just to reiterate, there are the two zones, school zones, which have a different set of requirements around it need to be in a school-specific area. The community safety zones are much broader. They take into account other public safety and vulnerable different situations like parks, senior centers, et cetera. And the difference also being with school zones, the speed is variable depending on time of day. With schools, community safety zones are consistent speeds 24/7, 365 days a year. Council has identified the community safety zones and where we want these cameras to go, and have, as you've iterated your priorities around ensuring that these locations are safe 24/7. And so with that, there are different signage requirements for a school zone and a community safety zone. That's why you will not see flashing 4E signs and different time of day signals around the camera areas that we have in place. They are consistent speeds for those times, and that's why this signage requirement that is being pointed out here today does not apply to the areas in which we have cameras.
And through you, Chair, just this is, yes or no, this is codified clearly in the Highway Traffic Act, yes?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion to receive the delegation, moved by Councilor Vicente and seconded by Councilor Schuer. All in favor? Motion carries. Moving on to 7.3, I'd like to welcome David Wall. Please come forward to the podium. You have 5 minutes for your delegation on El Dorado Camp and Amusements Limited. Is David Wall online? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can hear you, David. You can begin. I'll signal to you when it's 30 seconds left, okay?
Thanks for that. Thanks to everyone. Really, thanks for this opportunity. I'm sorry I can't be there in person. My name is David Wall, he, him pronouns. I'm the Director of Cultural Programming at the organization that oversees Camp Nijveld. Camp Nijveld is an El Dorado park in Brampton. The camp has been part of the greater Brampton community since 1936, when our predecessors bought the land that would later become El Dorado Park. It was given to Brampton by us about 50 years ago in the 1970s. I don't have the exact year. And we, of course, kept some of the land to keep our camp going. Camp Nijveld is this wonderful place that I'll tell you briefly about. I'll keep well within the 5 minutes, I promise. And we're quickly coming to our 100th year. Our centennial is coming up. And the weekend of August 23rd, 24th will be this enormous celebration, enormous for us anyway. And we're expecting to have 300 at least extra guests on each day. And so we're thinking that we're going to be spilling out of the Camp Nijveld area into El Dorado Park. And so we have requested from Parks and Recreation to have an extra picnic area 4, and accompanying parking for all these people. So for the past century, our camp has offered families summers full of community fun and culture, all imbued with secular Jewish social justice values. We are definitely not, I emphasize, a religious camp. We may be Jewish, but we are secular. We're also very welcoming. We have many interfaith, multiracial, and LGBTQ plus families in our midst, about 90 cabins. For our big centenary celebration, as I said, we've requested from Parks and Recreation to have this picnic area and this parking. Unfortunately, we've been told that I guess the permits are going to cost us upwards of $2,000, a little bit less than that, which exceeds our budgetary capacity. We run on volunteers. We just don't have this kind of budget. We're planning a big thing with food and a concert and all of the celebratory stuff. We do not have this money. It's prohibitively expensive for us. We're hoping that with your support, given our history, we are a heritage site, a designated heritage site in Brampton, given our history and our significance, that this cost can be waived just for these 2 days. In exchange, we can name the City of Brampton as a sponsor of the event. We've already invited many of you to the celebratory days, August 23rd and 24th. We'll certainly repeat that and remind you guys. We would love for you to come and be honored guests at our celebration. So we're asking to waive those fees. It's that simple. I think it's a pretty small ask, considering. And now I throw it over to you for questions.
Thank you. Councilor Medeiros.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. In consultation with my councillor colleague, Councillor Keenan, we're happy to refer this to staff to have further discussion and come back with. I think we all recognize its historical importance and close relationship that we've had with the camp. So we thank you for everything you've done, and we just ask you to work with staff, and staff will come back with a recommendation. Thank you very much.
Okay, I have a referral back to staff, moved by Councillor Medeiros and seconded by Councillor Keenan. All in favor? Motion carries. I've got a request to vary the agenda and put 7.6 next, because the Six Nations of the Grand River is on a time constraint. So if that is okay with my colleagues, I would like to, and it's connected to the following delegation anyways. So if we're okay, I'm gonna ask Tania Hill Montour to please come to the podium to delegate?
Sego Sego Guego. I'm Tanya Hill Montour. I'm the Archaeology Supervisor for Six Nations of the Grand River Elected Council. And I feel quite honored to be with City of Brampton and be within the chambers today. It's been very heartwarming to witness the testimony and of the City of Brantford and the diversity that I've witnessed this morning. So I'm pretty grateful to see that. So I'm a Mohawk. I spend a lot of my time, promoting the respect and the protection of archaeological resources within Southern Ontario. It's a pretty heavy job, but we managed to get through it with a lot of conversations within different municipalities and regions throughout Southern Ontario. And today I'm landed in the City of Brampton, so thank you for that. I have the honor to work with the city planning and heritage team on the archaeological management plan that, and as we could see, the Brampt. It's been a really good experience. We've had the opportunity to explore different ideas, and within that exploration, we've been able to achieve, a best practice protocol. Archaeology, it's been based on a really colonial foundation in Canada. Indigenous people, First Nations people have not had the opportunity to the preservation and education of our heritage. And as the first people, archaeology began within a settler colonial project. So within that, it was collecting, categorizing, displaying our Indigenous First Nations materials without consent. Artifacts and human remains were removed, stored, studied without any regard and consultation and with Indigenous laws or protocols. Today, we still have museums and institutions that hold our artifacts without consent, continually to research, our artifacts, store them. Also, not only with our artifacts, but also our ancestors, human remains. So that's been really difficult and really heavy. Today, we're working forward with a new path and a best practice within Brampton to allow that some of these situations that I've presented to you are not, taken upon within the City of Brampton. So today we're going to recognize the TRCA Call to Action 67 to 70, which is to urge heritage professionals and institutions to work with Indigenous First Nations communities to tell the truth about our past and also share our authority. And I'm looking forward and honored to have done the TRCA action with the City of Brampton's team to allow that the archaeological management plan to move forward in a respectful manner. I'll leave it as there. I won't explain what an archaeological management plan is today for you, but I do want to make sure that I acknowledge that I'm here from Six Nations to support and work alongside as good allies with the City of Brampton, to move forward in a positive path.
Thank you, Tanya. It means a lot that you took time out of your busy schedule to come here, and thank you to staff for doing such open consultation and engagement. So thank you. We have Councillor Tour who has a question, but just to the clerks to give them a heads up, I'm going to bring the minutes down and pass them as amended with Councillor Santos after Councillor Tour, just so we're ready. Yeah.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Tanya, for coming here today and sharing your thoughts with us. It means a lot to us when I look at Rosella's face. You can see the pride on her face too for all the work that was put into this. So thank you to all the staff, to Rosella, your team as well, Commissioner Ganesh, everybody here on planning as well. Just two questions, one for you, one maybe for the Commissioner. When you look at other municipalities, And City of Brampton, with the endorsement of this plan here, answering some of the calls under TRC, where do you think we kind of sit, and is there room for us to do better? Are there other municipalities that are doing more in relations to the archaeological management in their municipalities that maybe we can look at and say that's what we need to do? Or do you think, like, where do we kind of sit?
I think you guys sit really high on hierarchy because right now, archaeological management plan, there's only 4 that are existing. So right now, in speaking to reconciliation, use are very high, and we're also going to be taking the BRAMPT, and we're going to be using it and to set precedents for other areas. So if that can answer your question, you guys are very high on the hierarchy right now for engagement and working closely with First Nations.
And we truly appreciate that feedback. We heard that last week in Toronto as well at the Fire Council, the Indigenous Network as well. They had similar comments to share as well. So again, kudos to staff for working on this. Commissioner Ganesh, a question to you. In light of the recent changes that are coming from the province under Bill 17, I believe, how does that impact our work when it comes to BRAMP?
Through the chair, through to you, Councillor Toor. To date, Bill 17 has not identified archaeological studies as one of those studies that are up for negotiation, shall we say, with the industry. So certainly, I would say Council has done a good job of enshrining the importance of archaeological management through our official plan, down through the development review process. Certainly, staff will flag for Council in a proactive manner if we sense that any further legislation puts the rigor of archaeological management at risk for Brampton.
I appreciate that. You answered my follow-up question was going to be just that, that do keep Council apprised should there be any changes, if we foresee any. But thank you once again, and thank you for your delegation.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Tanya. I have a motion moved by Councillor Toor and seconded by Councillor Santos to receive the delegations and approve the minutes. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, and next up is Delegation 7.4, which is a presentation by Shanika Johnson, and we'll also bring up the report for this as well. Yeah. Shanika? Yeah. Shanika, you have 5 minutes.
Good morning, Deputy Mayor Singh, members of council, staff, and the public. I am Shanika Johnson, the manager for the Equity Office, and I am so pleased to be here today to present the city's first equity, diversity, and inclusion strategy. This strategy is a roadmap for how we as a city will continue to understand and respond to the diverse needs of both our staff and residents. Brampton is one of the most diverse cities in Canada. So Brampton is number 10 Canada-wide and 3rd in Ontario, with 8.6% of the population identifying as visible minority in the 2021 census. So we have our South Asian community as the largest, and the Black community as the 2nd largest, and the Filipino community as the 3rd largest. As one of the most diverse cities in Canada, we have a responsibility to embed equity, diversity, and inclusion across our operations to ensure equitable delivery of services and programs. The strategy is both internal and external, so it will be serving the needs of both staff and the community. The plan is key to advancing our vision of a more equitable and engaged Brampton. It's designed to reinforce and operationalize the city's equity commitments, to integrate equity and inclusion, next slide please, sorry, across our organizational structures, to guide resource allocation that support EDI goals, and to clearly define goals, roles, and responsibility, as well as accountability at all levels. The strategy is a tool for action which enables all stakeholders to understand the city's EDI goals and priority, to see how your work fits into the EDI outcomes, and to monitor progress through defined actions and performance indicator. It is also important in taking ownership in building a culture of belonging and respect throughout the city of Brampton. Next slide, please. So the Equity Office have been reviewing and examining the needs of the corporation and the Brampton community with the intent of creating this strategy. The EDI strategy was researched and created internally by looking at current policies, practices, and inclusion initiatives, carrying out benchmarking initiatives across different cities to find best practices for Brampton. We have also taken into consideration key recommendations from various reports. One was mentioned earlier, the Truth and Reconciliation Calls to Action, the Center for Canadian Diversity and Inclusion, Diversity and Inclusion Strategy, NCC and Municipal Recommendations, and the Laura Williams Report on the Experience of Black Staff, as well as Council's commitment to embedding EDI across our organization. Also key to the strategy's input was the 2022 workforce survey that was completed on staff, which obtained recommendations through data analysis of the survey response, which are weaved throughout the fabric of the strategy. Next slide, please. So the aim of the strategy is to build an organization where employees feel valued for their experience and their perspective, to guide active contribution that enhance the inclusion of historically marginalized groups such as our Indigenous community, Black community, and all other equity-deserving communities across the city. Next slide, please. The strategy is aligned with the city's corporate strategic plan, which focuses on some key areas. There are 4 pillars within the strategy. So there are 4 broad pillars which have key initiatives and actions which will be measurable. So first pillar is focused around diverse and equitable workforce. So this focuses on looking at recruitment strategies, ensuring that we're empowering and strengthening our workforce to provide a more inclusive space for all individuals. The second pillar focuses on engagement, which is that community piece to ensure that the voice of the community is included within within what we do here at Brampton. Can I ask for extra few minutes to
I'll give you 2 minutes to wrap up. Yeah.
Thank you. And our third pillar is focused on fostering and creating a culture of belonging, which focuses on creating a sense of belonging for staff. So through initiatives like employee resource groups, we're creating those sense of belonging. And our third and fourth pillar focuses on identifying and addressing systemic barriers, which look at policies and practices to ensure we are reviewing and looking at those barriers within our structures and our practices. Next slide, please. Also, along with the strategy is our progress report, and the progress report really highlights our key deliverables and accomplishment since the Equity Office have been created. So it both look at our community engagement, our community partnership, as well as the internal work around training and development for staff. There's also the highlight of establishing the Brampton Women's Advisory Committee, which the Equity Office also supports. Next slide, please. So as we look forward, we'll look at implementation plans, so developing a plan with staff to show how Brampton will continue to prioritize EDI to support the workforce and the community. We'll be launching our strategy in Q3. And moving forward, we'll be tracking and monitoring progress on the EDI strategy. The strategy is a living document, one that will evolve with input and reflection. We are committed to making meaningful and measurable progress towards a more inclusive organization and community. We welcome your continued support as we move forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and we have 2 speakers. Councillor Santos.
Thank you so much through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Shanika, and the entire team in the Equity Office, who I believe you're all here today. I just want to point out that if we didn't have Rosella and the Equity Office in place, we would not have been able to deeply impact that archaeological Brant plan. So just so folks in the audience, because I know Caribram is here and different folks from different communities are in the audience for Caribram, the City of Brampton, when we talk about our Equity Office and the things that we are doing as a municipality to celebrate and embrace the 250 different cultures, 171 different languages in our city, internally and externally. It's not just about flag raisings and community events. It's about deep policy work that is, to Councillor Torr's point, high up there in terms of leading the path on how to do things right in our community, whether that's the Indigenous community implementing the NCCM recommendations, the Black Empowerment Network, the work we're doing with women and women equity, the work we're doing with the Indigenous community. We are looking at ways to really meaningfully implement what equity means in the City of Brampton, including the neurodivergent and folks with disabilities and accessibility in our city, including that, which an announcement is coming later on that as well. So you gave us highlights in 7 minutes. There's a lot more work to explain and share to council. I'm happy to see that there's going to be sort of updates to council. And I'm wondering, as part of those updates and tracking and progress reports that are coming to council from the Equity Office, I think it would be fantastic to delve a little bit deeper into what, for example, the where we are in the implementation plan for NCCM recommendations, the Black Empowerment Network, the Indigenous community, the work we're doing on women, because we can't summarize all of that in a 7-minute presentation. And so as we are monitoring the progress in each of those files, can we include in there, similar to what you did, just a presentation to council on those very specific efforts from the Equity Office?
Thank you, Councillor Santos. Just really to highlight, all the work within the Equity Office and, to make those connections. And that's why it's so important to really have the strategy to set that roadmap so that all departments and, the community as well could see how they all fit in. I think it's really important, for us to break down each one. And moving forward, we will also be holding community consultation with different community groups. So there will be reports coming forward to council as well, which will be pinpointing particular, for example, for the Black community, there will be a consultation, an extensive consultation coming online this summer that will really dive into, the community voice as well. And moving forward, we'll also be tracking those and providing those updates to council and the community as to where we are with those recommendations. We'll also be looking at the TRC, specifically those that are related to the municipal sectors. As we know, the TRC report focuses on all government, so federal, provincial, and municipality. So we'll be digging deeper into that and also creating an action plan and continuing to track those as we move forward.
Thanks, Shanika. So I would love for those things to also get the same sort of level of detail to council as well, because I think it is something for us to share publicly.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Santos. Councillor Medeiros.
Thank you through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the presentation. A couple of things, if you can elaborate. One of the, going through the work, and thank you for the report, if you can highlight maybe more of the audit function that an Equity Office would do. Because I know, for example, City of Toronto, province, there was more of that audit function where they would look at a city or city delivered service or city program. If you can give an example or maybe talk about what have you looked at the city where you've identified from an audit perspective, or if you are doing it, and if we're not, is that something you plan on doing? For example, when you look at our budget that we produce, that the Equity Office is just not looking at what their budget allocation is to them, but what are some of the budget funds that are available to support equity and diversity? The second question I would have, as a local councillor, when you talk about community engagement, And this is not a knock, but I've had very limited, besides the organization of events, I've had limited access or limited outreach with the Equity Office. So if there's an opportunity that Councillor Keenan and myself would be able to host some form of, be it meetings, or if you can work with us in our community in Wards 3 and 4 in identifying how we can, are there groups that we're not hitting? Are there groups that we haven't tapped into? I know there's more of a relationship with the mayor's office being a central body, there's more of a corporate function. I do see your staff out, you know, at different functions, different events, different people and so on. I, as a councillor, have never been really had the opportunity to sort of been, you know, guided and taken out and looking at Wards 3 and 4 and be able to identify and work with groups, or even me providing value added in terms of, here are some groups that I don't see you engaging with. You know, like for example, some of the festivals that are go on across the city that are with different community groups, I don't see much, you know, involvement and relationship building with some other community groups. So I just think that there's an opportunity to foster a closer relationship with local councillors.
Okay, so I'll take the second one. Thank you, Councillor
Yeah.
Medeiros, through the chair. So with the strategy, this is the roadmap that's going to set that tone as well. And we will be building those relationships going forward, ensuring that council as well as the community has a part of what we do. Because with the Equity Office, a lot of the work in the beginning was really focusing on looking internally at our structure or policies. So from that audit, so it's kind of dovetail into your first question as well. You know, looking at, you know, what are existing policies. We also had a survey that actually looked at inclusivity within the organization. So really building that capacity within the organization to ensure that our staff are also equipped with those pieces to help to serve the community. So moving forward with the strategy 2025 and beyond, we will continue to build those relationships. And thank you for that. We will ensure that we include councillors in, you know, in those discussions. And with the community consultation coming online, that's one of the key things that we have, we're focused on, making sure that we're, you know, having those conversations within ward parents, ensuring that the councillors are also a part of the discussion and how we, you know, we can build that relationship with both the community as well as the councillors.
Yeah, and thank you through Mr. Chair. Yeah, and that's important because I can be more effective and do my job better with, for example, the Equities Office's guidance, and maybe, you know, there's some issues that I'm not aware of. So I would like, you know, me personally would love to see more of a stronger relationship. So thank you so much.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Councillor Tour. Thank you through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Shanika, for this presentation and for these excellent reports here as well. Thank you to your entire team for engaging on this. I know we have a room full of our summer students here that are sometimes resting their eyes a little too long right now, and the meeting's been going on for a long time, but just to talk to the youth that's here in the room, the importance of this strategy. When you look online and the narratives that you see on social media, the social rhetoric right now, the whole anti-DEI, DEI somehow makes us worse, somehow costs the government more money, somehow is not meant for everybody. You know, I'd encourage all the youth here in the room as well to actually go through this report. This is not surface level. This is not just doing events with different communities. This is not just, you know, doing things just for the sake of doing them. When you look at how deep this policy goes, like how Councillor Santos talked about this in depth as well, on the meaningful changes that actually makes, both internal to City Hall as a corporation that has thousands of employees here that work for this corporation, but also what this means to the hundreds of thousands that are outside the city and how this impacts their daily lives as well. One point I'd like to mention just on those recommendations here, if you read that third item there that says staff develop an implementation plan for the recommendations in the EDI strategy with the goal of a net zero impact to the property tax base. Somehow there's always this narrative that you're compromising on quality, you're compromising on the cost of delivery of service if you implement a EDI strategy. In fact, it is the opposite. You do things much more efficiently. You incorporate a lot more different experiences, different voices at the table that help us do our job better. The Diverse Supplier Program is a great example of that. One of the recommendations is towards the end of the year to review that. But I think we should be setting those examples at a dark time like this, when DEI seems to be under the attack, when anything that goes wrong in the world is somehow a problem that was made by people of color. I think it is very important to look at something like this and say, how can we make things better? So kudos to staff here for doing this report, for doing the excellent work here, really meaningful work. I do hope, especially the youth in our city, really take this away and understand this and what this means. And hopefully we have you folks back one day working for the city of Brampton and implementing and helping us with the implementation of this plan as well. And if at the end of this discussion and once we endorse this, if we can obviously take a picture with the team, just to relieve you, I think that's a great opportunity. If the students want to head out of the council chambers, I think that'd be the best time. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Brar.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair, and just really want to say thank you, Shanika, for the great report. And I had the privilege of attending the Black Community Town Hall last week, where there was issues where I didn't even know, like for the Black community, there was issues where youth were having trouble getting jobs. So those are, and you guys were there last week, and I acknowledge that. And I think it was great to see the communities come together with their different issues. And just want to kind of echo Councillor Santos' point where we can have NCCM, the Black Empowerment Unit, and then the Women's Empowerment Group just coming in and having that briefing with us. But again, you have been doing a great job. I've never seen so many youth come up to me and tell me how they feel like they belong in Brampton, and I think that's a great thing that you bring here. So thank you again, and just really want to say thank you. Yeah, thank you, Councilor.
Thank you. And we have a request from Councilor Tour to take a picture, so we'll come out, take a picture, and in the meantime, I'll ask our next delegation and our last delegation to prepare, which is Carabram, Joe Pimentel. Okay. Oh yeah, sorry, before the picture, I'm gonna have a motion moved by Councilor Tour, seconded by Councilor Santos to receive the delegation and approve the recommendations and the report. All in favor? Motion carried. right, order. Order, please, order. We have another delegation. If we could clear the room, whoever needs to leave, please leave. All right.
Ooh, it's nice.
All right, we good? All right, order, please, order. Order. Okay, we're going to begin delegation 7.5, which is Kara Bram. Thank you, Joe, for coming. And you have 5 minutes. You can begin. Please, let's give the courtesy of the speaker to be able to say, okay, go ahead.
Can I declare all the unused time? That was, no, I guess not.
No, please don't.
Deputy Mayor, honorable members of council, esteemed staff, and ladies and gentlemen, Kara Bram, Brampton's beloved 43-year-old festival is returning July 11th, 12th, and 13th in venues across our city. What began as a celebration of a handful of cultures has grown into a vibrant gathering of 20 cultures in our community, all proud to call Brampton home, including our Indigenous brothers and sisters at the Canada Pavilion. It is with great pride and gratitude that I speak to you today, not just about the festival, but about the cornerstone of Brampton's identity and a beacon of the future we strive to create together. One rooted in unity, inclusion, and shared celebration. Kara Bram would like to extend its deepest gratitude to the extraordinary team of city staff whose tireless efforts and quiet dedication have helped breathe life into our celebration of community. To Megan Guerrera, Jillian Palmer, Gage Board, Craig Booth, Dave Cooper, and all the exceptional facility supervisors and frontline staff who have given up so much of their generosity and time and spirit to contribute to bring us to life. And to Brampton Fire Services, whose presence reminds us that safety and service are the quiet pillars of any thriving event. Thank you to them. We also wish to acknowledge with sincere appreciation Regional Councillors Paul Vicente and Regional Councillor Mike Paleshi, who have graciously agreed to serve as council liaisons to Kara Bram. This partnership, rooted in continuity, trust, and a shared belief in the beauty of community, holds the promise of many good things to come. Kara Bram is not simply a weekend of food, dance, music, and tradition. It is a powerful reminder of what we can achieve when we embrace one another's differences with openness and joy. It is a living example of how multiculturalism, when truly nurtured, doesn't divide us. It defines us. Kara Bram is more than Brampton's first and longest running multicultural festival. It is a space where barriers are replaced with bridges, where cultures stand side by side, and where every resident, regardless of background, can find belonging. In a world too often divided by fear and intolerance, Kara Bram offers an antidote. Shared humanity, proudly expressed, joyfully experienced. Kara Bram reflects our greatest strength, the rich tapestry of cultures that shape our daily lives. But diversity on its own is not enough. We must actively engage in building connection through listening, through learning, and standing side by side with one another in solidarity. That is why this festival matters. That is why it endures. It was founded so people could not only participate, but shine boldly, unapologetically, in full color and full voice. And when someone is empowered to stand fully in their truth, the whole community is elevated. That is the true spirit of inclusion and of Kara Bram. We must recognize a simple yet profound truth. Community is not something that emerges by accident. It is not the product of convenience or happenstance. It is cultivated through intention, leadership, and most of all, heart. When councillors and community leaders stand in support of Caribram, you do more than endorse a festival. You signal to Brampton and beyond that diversity here is not merely acknowledged, it is embraced. It is celebrated and cherished as an essential expression of who we are. I ask for an extra minute, please. In its spirit, this is our ask of council. It is in this spirit that Caribram humbly asks council to consider a path forward, one in which city staff are invited to work closely with our team. Though Caribram is deeply grateful to be recognized as a marquee festival and receive a generous support from the city, the entire funding allocation, along with an additional $10,000, ultimately returns to the city in the form of operational costs. We need your help. We want to work with you. Caribram is more than a showcase. We are not just celebrating diversity, we are declaring that our differences are the very foundation of strong, compassionate, and a united Brampton that we are building together. The future of this city is not bright because we are the same. It is bright because we are different and because we are united. Let us keep building those bridges. Let us keep creating spaces where every voice matters and every culture belongs. And let us continue to support and uplift Caribram as a model for what is possible when we come together in joy and courage and love. Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Okay. We have two councillors on the board. Councillor Vicente.
Thank you very much, Chair. Joe, thank you to you and to all the members of the board and all the pavilions for coming here today and showing us so beautifully just how wonderful Caribram is. Brampton's the oldest multicultural festival. And, you know, as a past member of the board, I had the privilege of serving with you and other members of the board, and I'm so grateful that you've come here today to show us just how vibrant and strong the Caribram organization is. But to your point, Joe, asking and looking for us to work more tightly and more integrated with you, I would certainly want to give you an opportunity. If you could just tell us and let everyone know, how has Caribram's experience been as you've been planning this year's event? How has it been with you and staff?
Well, the experience is always unique. I mean, I could have put up slides, but I thought I'd give you a living portrait of the faces and the people, the volunteers, who make it all happen. The difficulty is that these people have jobs. These people have lives. But they believe passionately in the festival and what we represent, so they commit themselves to do that. But it's often difficult to corral people around an issue. I often compare it humorously, I hope. It's like herding cats. It's impossible to do, but you never stop trying. Because everyone is going in their own direction, everyone has their priorities, but we always, always, always come together for the festival, and we always try to put our best foot forward. So for me, it is an effort of community living, of community engagement. We are Brampton to the core. And my experience is that no matter how many hardships we face, we continue to push forward. We've been here for 43 years. Most festivals don't last more than 15 or 20.
Okay. Any other questions, Councilor?
Yes, thank you. Can you just highlight for us some of the pavilions that you have this year and where they're located?
Absolutely. Thank you. So just quickly, at Terry Miller, we have the Africa Pavilion and Hawaii. At Century Gardens, we have the Pavilion of Cultures, the Caribbean Pavilion and the Philippine Pavilion. Elam is at Save Max. China is at Jim Archdeacon with India and Nepal. Canada is at the Ronald E. Grashaw Brampton Masonic Hall. Brampton Lions Club is going to host Ireland, and the Brampton Curling Club is going to host the Punjab Pavilion. And this year we have a shuttle service paid for by Caribram, 3 buses which will go around all pavilions clockwise every 20 to 30 minutes, so you can park your car, travel with your family as long as you have a passport, and then get back to where you started from and enjoy the Caribram Festival without driving. Thank you for the question, Councilor.
Thank you very much, Owen. Thank you. Looking forward to this year's Caribram. I'll be visiting, and I know all members of council will as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Councilor Maderos.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Joe. This is exactly what you said in terms of a living and breathing sort of exemplification of a community. Nothing is more powerful than seeing everyone here. And it's interesting, you know, and I don't know if it was set up this way, but we just had the diversity and inclusion strategy. And you guys are the living embodiment of what we're trying to accomplish. And it speaks volumes on how, you know, there should be, you know, besides the celebration part is the energy that's created through this, and how can we keep energized and keep engaged with the group. I just also want to recognize my councilor colleagues for also their commitment and their support of Caribram. I know when I first was on council, you know, I guess there was this impetus to try to change what Caribram was, and I was part of that impetus trying to change it because I, you know, thought we can do things better, and thank God, you know, I wasn't successful in that, and thank God to my councilor colleagues who, you know, basically kept the support, because where we are today, it wouldn't be here without their support. So thank you to my councilor colleagues for their steadfast commitment. I certainly, getting to a question in terms of the support we provide. So I heard, for example, you guys paid for the buses and so on. Not trying to get into the financials, but is there, you know, I'd like to understand how we can sort of support this better, and how we can, because I think it's just it's great to see everyone here and the amount of volunteers that go into this. So maybe just, you know, hopefully after the celebration, we just don't go away and we say this was great, and I know my councilor colleagues will bring that information back on what we can do as a council to fully embrace this and support it more, especially as the promotion and so on. So maybe just some ideas where you think there's some opportunities that we can sort of keep growing this, because it's great to see everyone involved and great to see this flourish. So.
Well, thank you, Councilor, for the question. I guess there's two ways of looking at it. There's low-hanging fruit. That is something that we can collaborate quickly with council to kind of get going. Caribram is paying for a shuttle service, for example. It would be great that on Caribram weekend, if the city allowed it, anyone with a Caribram passport can board any city bus to travel to any pavilion and not pay. So we wouldn't have to spend that money on the shuttle service. Those are the kinds of things that are almost just waiting to be done. The other things we are looking at is, we know we're 43 years young. There's definitely room for improvement. It's how that improvement takes shape, how we move collectively, jointly, harmoniously together to change. We know that sometimes, as hard as we try, it's hard to change an arena into a pavilion that would awe people. It's a great expense, right, that a lot of these volunteers take on, and that Caribram also pays. So it's looking at the model of Caribram. It's looking at the partnerships with bigger sponsors within the community. We talked, for example, of joining with Amazon, who is a Brampton-based business, going to them and saying, buy 10,000 passports, and for the month of June, put 2 passports in every package that leaves Brampton, so when a Brampton resident opens their package, they see 2 Caribram passports. Those kinds of things, these little things that really help. Council has that power to make the introduction. Council has that influence to maybe make someone's head go from this to this. You know, those are the kinds of things we're looking for to work with council. And also, of course, the expense. The Marquis grant gives us $65,000. That is nothing to sneeze at. It's a wonderful, wonderful grant. But our expenses are in excess, just with the city, in excess of $70,000. So and that's on top of all the other expenses. And we've had to fight through COVID, and we've had to help the pavilions build back. You know, so anything that we can do with council, with the city, that helps make things better, stronger, we're open for it, 100%. Thank you, Council.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's my last question. Oh, sorry. So when we talk about, for example, the students that are here in the work program, so connection with youth and with schools, maybe you can elaborate. Has there been sort of targeted trying to get, youth out? Because I know when I was in high school, one of my fondest memories is going to Caribram.
Yeah.
So,
We have a great youth commitment at the Pavilion of Cultures through Therese Gooden. She is an amazing organizer, and she has a core group of students that show up, volunteer, and help. I think last year we had 10 or 12 core, and then an even broader group. We work with Heritage Canada for students that are paid to work with Caribram, to do statistics, to do surveys, to do all the things we want to have to help us then look at and reevaluate ourselves. But we haven't connected as strongly as we should, in my personal opinion, with the school boards, in part because the school boards kind of cross municipal boundaries. Mississauga has Carassauga, Brampton has Caribram. So to go to the school board, we haven't figured out how to quite have that discussion without alienating one side or the other. But it forces us maybe to work closer with Carassauga to come up with a strategy to include the students, to include the families in Caribram, not just on the festival weekend, but much further beyond that in artwork and social studies, the importance of multiculturalism. We see how Canada's multiculturalism theory works so much better than the melting pot theory. We all embrace each other. Yes, there's challenges and difficulties. We'd be kidding ourselves if there aren't. But when you come to Caribram and you talk to someone from Nepal, or you talk to someone from India, or you talk to someone from the Philippines, you realize quickly they're not much different than I am. They have the same concerns, the same desires, and the same dreams for their family and for their city. So yes, we need to make outreach greater in that field, and we always are looking at opportunity to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor.
We have a motion, I guess, moved by Councillor Vicente, seconded by Councillor Maderos, to receive the delegate. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And to Joe's request, if we could ask that staff continue to work closely with Caribram going forward to find those opportunities on how the city can better support the festival.
Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciate it.
Okay. We have a motion moved by Councillor Vicente and seconded by Councillor Maderos to receive the delegation. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, so there was a request to take a picture.
Yes, please.
With Caribram, and then after that with the students.
Yeah, and then we'll go back to the agenda. That's the best time to clear the room, so anybody who wants to clear the room, that would be.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. right, please clear the room. We have to continue business.
Just go.
Are all my colleagues here? Councillor Fertini?
We're dealing with the minutes now.
Online? Okay, so we'll get started. Just waiting for... Okay, all right. Okay, we are ready to begin. We are at item 12.3, Minutes Committee of Council. We have a few amendments added by myself and Councillor Santos. 2 amendments to the minutes. I've discussed mostly with colleagues, one just clarifying a motion last week, and Councillor Santos is adding some additional criteria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. So agree that there was clarification required for the amendment that was brought forward last time, but then also adding an additional criteria for number 5 related to the report coming back to council when we look at the different classification system to include minimum insurance requirements based on the classification system in order to strengthen the program.
Okay. Could I get a look from staff? I'm looking at our Director Higgs. Are these amendments we had discussed?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So we'll take it as read. All in favor? Motion carries. Moving on to added items. 16.2 was added by Mayor Brown. And is it a motion or a discussion item? It's a motion. Okay. All seconded. If he's online, he can speak to it, or we could just move it.
I'm online, but I think it's self-explanatory. So
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
free to just move it.
I agree. It seems like that. So moved by myself and Mayor Brown. All in favor? Motion carries. Moving on to 16.3 was an added item by Councillor Thur. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, the motions here on the screen. This is in relation to the advocacy, to support the mayor in his advocacy to do the work that he has been doing.
Sure. Okay, we'll have it moved by you, Councillor Thur, and seconded by Mayor Brown. All in favor? Motion carries. We have 16.4 with another added item. Councillor Thur?
Yes, Mr. Chair, again, the motion's on the screen. Self-explanatory. If there's any questions, happy to answer about this.
Could you just clarify with some
Yes,
members?
I can. This is in relation to council remuneration, looking at the existing conditions and the constraints that are there on our residents and hearing that on the ground daily. The resolution here is staff be directed to make the necessary administrative changes to revert the 2025 annual adjustment to members of council remuneration, maintaining 2024 level for the current 2025 year. So every year, the rate of inflation increase that we see that happens to council salaries. This is in effect to say that let's not do it in 2025. And that's the motion that's on the floor.
Okay. All right, it's moved by Councillor Thur, seconded by Councillor Brar. All in favor? Motion carries. Moving on, 16.5 is an update from Councillor, for Councillor Power. Okay, it was a discussion. It's a motion. Okay. Can we have Councillor Power speak to it, please?
Thank you, through you, Deputy Mayor. So just on the Howden bike lanes, an update. I recently received an update from Public Works Planning and Growth Management about the progressive design and moving the bike lanes along Howden to the boulevards. And I want to thank staff for the update and work that has gone in thus far. I've been working on this since last year, and the Howden curb bike lanes is probably one of the biggest challenges in Ward 7 with complaints. The residents of Lynn Ridge, Leander, LaFrance, Loden, Lime Ridge, and Heath struggle getting in and out of their streets due to congestion, primarily the inability to make right-hand turns at Dixie and at Williams Parkway that get backed up with traffic. The report outlines 3 possible scenarios: a one-side multi-use path, cycle tracks which align both sides, and finally a transition to cycle tracks that at the intersections. All have varying degrees of complexities and costs. I love the fact that we started work last year, and our active transportation plan now is going in the same direction that I've been advocating for almost a year. But we've now created a dangerous situation at these intersections where vehicles have the ability to straddle the curbs and make right-hand turns, which I and residents have witnessed firsthand. So I'd like to propose a fourth option, and that is turning the sidewalks into a wider multi-use pathways, similar to what is being used in other wards. We have cameras that are currently on Howden that are facing both directions as traffic calming measure. There is also a precedent of returning bike lanes back to their original state on Elba and Marco. So with that, I'd like to put forth the following motion, and I really hope my council colleagues will support this, being the ward council for this area. We get a number of complaints for these curved bike lanes, get a number of complaints for congestion. So the motion is fairly simple. Staff be directed to continue the planning work to move these bike lanes to the boulevard, as well as consider the cost of the fourth option of converting sidewalks into multi-use pathways, as well as directed to immediately remove the curbs on Howden from Dixie to Williams Parkway and return that portion of Howden to a 4-lane road. The estimated cost of $200,000 to be taken from a reserve fund designated by the CAO. Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you, Councilor Power. We have Councilor.
Vote as well.
Yeah, we have a Councilor Santos on the board.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. So I'm not supporting this motion. It's somewhat contrary to the motion that we did pass earlier in the year, where we had asked staff to report back to council on the different options related to this, but also to prioritize safety, Vision Zero, including public consultation on this pilot program, which is a key component of the active transportation master plan, and the pilot program is actually not done yet. So I was briefed on this one-on-one as a council member, but the Active Transportation Advisory Committee was also briefed on this, and we were already told that public consultation as well as data collection on this corridor, as per the original direction of the motion, is going to take place with a report officially coming back to council with those options on what to do moving forward and the true cost of everything. So unfortunately, I can't support this because the Active Transportation Advisory Committee, as well as the consultation process and all the options, has not happened. And I know that our city staff, planning staff, are in the process of organizing and collecting the data so that we can make an evidence-based decision on a pilot program that has not even finished yet. And so I won't be supporting this motion, and I would ask perhaps, Steve, if you could clarify where we are in this process, and particularly the consultation process as per the original motion that was passed.
Sure, through the chair, through to you, Councillor Santos. So you've summarized the chronology of events to date quite well, Councillor Santos. Staff are currently preparing for public engagement consultation in September, I believe. That will inform the part of the data and report back to council this fall, which will then inform the 2026 budget process.
Yeah.
So certainly we will act at the will of council today, but that was the direction previously from council to staff, and we are executing on that.
So and thank you, Steve, for that clarification. So I think the most appropriate time to deal with this motion would be when that report comes back, not preemptively before any public consultation, any information, any official presentation to council is made based on the direction from that original motion.
Through the chair, through to you, to Councillor Santos, that's quite right. And then just a quick side chat with Commissioner of Public Works. Certainly if we were to act on such a direction today, of removing curbs, there would have to be a safety evaluation of what that.
Correct.
So I would just caution council about that.
Yeah,
aspect.
so actually, by this motion would actually perhaps decrease safety on the roads versus increase safety. We're actually not sure.
Yeah, through the chair, through to your Councillor Santos, that's right. We would need to further study the implications of this motion.
Okay, thank you very much. I have no further questions other than to just comment that this is a very last-minute motion that was added to the agenda without any notice. So I would remind, I guess, members of council for any motions coming to council, especially ones that are perhaps contrary to motions from the past, to provide a notice of motion, because certainly this is a bit contrary to what we passed originally. And I don't even know if we need 2/3 to, anyway, whatever. No further questions.
Thank you, Councillor Fortini, followed by Councillor Power.
Yeah, thank you. I listened to the advisory committee a couple of weeks ago, and there were some options, 3 options. What, you said that report is coming September?
Through the chair, through to you, Councillor Fortini, we'll be undertaking public consultation in September. The report is teed up for October.
Yeah, and some of those costs I've seen, they're like $3.5 million. That's a lot of money. And putting a multipath which is good. But, you know, you got residents walking on sidewalks, you got seniors, you got people with strollers. And, you know, we're back where we started with safety. You know, I've always said in the past, even last term, 2 terms ago, before we did like North Park and all, we should put it on the grass. There was room. But now we got trees planted, we got fire hydrant, we got light poles. And they went through a report when I seen it. You know, it's exactly what I said. It's kind of too late to put it there now. But anyway, I'll just wait for the report, and I do agree with Councillor Santos, a last-minute motion, and to spend another $200,000 taking it from the CEO's office. If you just, you can speak on it. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fortini. Sorry, Councillor Powers. Councillor Power, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you through the chair. I get the safety aspect of it, and as Councillor Fortini had mentioned, there is a massive cost to what has been proposed in those 3 options. But the cost is not just a dollar amount. The cost is, you know, the elimination of trees. The cost is all kinds of other different things. And right now we're facing a safety issue at the intersections of Dixie and Howden and Williams Parkway at Howden, where vehicles are able to straddle the curbs and make right-hand turns. So the safety issue, you know, you can't turn around and say safety one way versus safety the other way. What are we trying to prioritize here? So I really stick by this motion. I get that it was last minute, but the residents in that particular area are upset. They're upset and they want them gone. And I think as somebody who represents the residents, it's my job to do that. So I hope that my council colleagues will vote in favor of that as well. Thank you.
Okay, we have Mayor Brown on the board as well. Mayor Brown?
Yeah, my advice here in trying to find a consensus would be that we split the motion to 2. I think adding an additional option to report back on is pretty routine to have all the information before us. If we look at 4 options or 3 options, I think that's fine. And then vote on the budget aspect separately, because the budget aspect is obviously something we have to look at. I know it's something I've heard a lot about. I just got a letter about it from the provincial government, but I would say I think you can segregate those 2 issues. The one is more routine. The second, we just have to know the exact financial consideration.
So Mayor Brown, I guess you're suggesting an amendment as well, that we have a report back.
No, I think that's what Councillor Power asked for. He said adding an option 4 in the report back. Am I incorrect?
No, he's saying, he's directing it. I was gonna, why I'm asking you to clarify, I was gonna suggest the same thing. That we say that staff report back on that. And so I think we're on the same page. Because as of now, the motion directs them to begin work on it.
Yeah. So Councillor Power, I think you'd find consensus if you just include that in the report back.
Yes, I agree with that. Councillor Power, would you take that as a friendly?
You know what, I really want these bike lanes gone, and I think the residents want them too. I'm not interested in the board anymore.
Okay, because my only fear is you don't have a seconder as well. So I don't think the motion actually, as of now, isn't standing, correct, to the clerk? Correct. So is anybody willing to second it? Okay, but there's no seconder. Councillor Power, are you willing
Fair
to?
enough, we'll take the friendly.
You'll take the friendly? Okay, so we can leave it as one motion if it's just a report back, right? Because they're just reporting back on the estimated costs as well.
So you want to remove the second portion?
Yeah, and just staff report back. Yes. No, just so, I just want to be clear as well. Yeah, this is good. The staff be directed to report back on continuing the plan, you know, so it'll be part of the report coming back in October. Yes, CAO.
Is that the entire motion that's going to be going
Yes,
forward?
I
or
think take it
so
as
everything else is coming on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So could you just show that on the screen?
Yeah. Yeah. Councillor Fertini, since you said you were waiting for the report as well, are you okay to second that? Okay, so we're happy. Yeah.
You have to remove
You just have to
immediately.
remove the second as well, staff be directed immediately.
Pardon?
Remove the immediately remove.
It's all a report, it doesn't,
Okay.
yeah, it doesn't matter. It's a report. Yeah, the report will be on how to immediately remove, but it's not
Yeah.
going to immediately remove.
Yeah.
Okay? Then we can decide when we have all the information in front of us.
Okay.
CAO Marlin? Okay, thank you. Councillor Fertini, you okay? Yep.
I just wanted to say something.
Okay.
Yeah, and listening to that committee last night, just when the report comes back, North Bramley United Church, I did a lot of work there. They put stones there, these big rocks. They were there for a reason, for safety issues. And nobody pointed that out in there. There's rocks everywhere there on the corners and further down because the cars kept going over the sidewalks and the speeding, and that's what, so, we got to look at that. I think they were put in 2013 or 2012. They were put in for that reason. That's why they're there.
They should say directed to continue to report back on planning, not continue to plan, because we're not continuing to plan the work.
Okay, the staff be requested, are we gonna strike out the first line? The staff be directed? Because we're looking to report back, right? Commissioner? No,
It
no,
is
yeah,
happening.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we need to strike out the first sentence. Okay, are we everybody happy? Yeah. Yeah, okay. And then we had a request for a recorded vote. So if we could take a recorded vote on this motion,
Motion as amended.
as amended.
Through you, Chair, the motion as amended is on the screen before you. And I would ask all those in favor, please stand. And I see Councillor Fortini, Councillor Medeiros, Councillor Tour, Councillor Santos, Deputy Mayor Singh, Councillor Keenan, Councillor Brar, and Councillor Vicente. I'll go to those online now. Councillor Power, how do you vote?
In favor.
Mayor Brown, how do you vote?
In favor.
And Councillor Palashi, how do you vote?
In favor.
That's it, sir. That's
Okay,
all in
that
favor.
carries unanimously. Thank you. And moving on, we are approaching in camera. Just to make sure, to the clerk? Yes, okay. Oh, yeah, sorry, public, public question period. Do any members of the public have any questions? Do any, yeah, I'm not following it.
Okay,
Yeah,
through you,
yeah,
Chair,
I'm
there are
gonna
no
go
questions
back.
online
Sorry.
either.
I was getting ahead of
And,
myself. I got excited. Okay.
Next up is
Yeah,
bylaws.
Yeah, bylaws. Okay, we are now at the portion of the meeting dealing with the adoption of city bylaws to give effect to council decision made at this meeting. I have a motion moved by Councillor Santos and seconded by Councillor Keenan to approve the bylaws 112 to 2025 to 125 to 2025 with the exception of 121 2025. Yes, okay, all in favor? Motion carries. And our next item of business is closed. But before we do that, I have to open up the agenda and add one item, a discussion item. And so can I get the 2/3 to open up the agenda? It's Councillor Pelletti's item from last week.
It was supposed to be on the agenda.
Yeah.
Embleton.
No, it wasn't on.
Wasn't on the
Yeah.
close.
Yeah. No, we have.
I think it'll be fast.
No, he's waiting. Yeah, it's time sensitive, yeah. Okay, so do I have the 2/3 to add the item? Yes, okay. So that'll be added as 19.12, right? 19.12? Yeah. All in favor? Motion carries, so that is added. We are heading into in-camera, and we will break for a quick lunch and come back at 12:30 for in-camera, okay?
Okay, we're gonna have, in the interest of transparency and open government, the clerk will report out in public session any outcomes from today's closed session business.
Through you, Chair. In closed session, the following items were addressed. 19.1 was approved on consent and not discussed in closed session. 19.2 was approved on consent, not discussed in closed session. 19.3 was approved on consent, including direction that a motion be considered in open session. And we'll just share that motion on screen for 19.3. And we just need a mover and seconder for that.
Sure, I'll take Councillor Keenan and Councillor Maderos on all of them, and we'll just vote on them all together.
Okay.
I'll take the vote all together. Are you done reading out? Yeah, you want me to do all of them now? Okay, so we have all the motions out in open session. Moved by Councillor Keenan, seconded by Councillor Maderos. All in favor? That carries. Okay?
And I'll just finish the report
Sure.
out. 19.4 was approved on consent, including direction that a motion be considered in open session, as is shown on screen. 19.5 was approved on consent, including direction that a motion be considered in open session, as shown on screen. 19.6, the item was considered and direction was given to staff. 19.7, this item was considered and direction was given to staff. 19.8 was considered, no direction was given. 19.9 was approved on consent, including direction that a motion be considered in open session, as is shown on screen. 19.11, this item was considered, direction was given, including that a motion be considered in public. And 19.12, this item was considered and direction was given to staff.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you to Councillor Keenan and Maderos for moving all the motions. Going on to confirming bylaw, we now have our confirming bylaw. I have a motion moved by Councillor Tour and seconded by Councillor Brar to approve the confirming bylaw. All in favor? Motion carries. Our last item of business is item 21, adjournment. Council is next scheduled to meet tentatively Wednesday, August 13th, but for sure, a regular date of Wednesday, September 10th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. I have a motion moved by Councillor. Pardon? July. The one on the screen says July 9th. Okay.
It says it.
It says it. Is it tentative or is it?
No, July 9th date has been released.
Okay. So we are no longer July. Yeah.
Just correct the motion.
Okay, so we'll do it as read to what I'm gonna say, which is tentative date of Wednesday, August 13th, and a regular date of Wednesday, September 10th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. I have a motion moved by Councillor Brar and seconded by Councillor Keenan. Actually? Yeah, okay. Okay, I have a motion moved by Councillor Brar and seconded by Councillor Keenan to adjourn today's meeting. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. The motion is carried and our meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.